We have a massive possible trade incoming. A major report has just come out detailing a possible blockbuster trade that could greatly improve the Baltimore Ravens defense. What is going on, everyone? My name is Sam Stewart. I hope everyone is doing well. So you're watching Ravens Digest. And before we dive into the content of today's video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Often you get to be one of the first 50 subscribers on a YouTube channel. Make sure you keep it right here. And keep a tab on all of our videos that we've got coming out. We've got everything you need to know in the offseason, trade rumors, reports, everything like that. And then once the season gets rolling, we'll have game previews and post-game analysis as well. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. All right, let's go ahead and get into today's video. And today we are talking about a possible blockbuster trade detailed in an article by Mike Moratis. Blockbuster Cowboys Ravens trade pitch sends Dallas $5.4 million All-Pro to Baltimore. This is the title of the article if you want to go check it out. Now, this article details something that the Ravens need very much, is they need to acquire an elite cornerback and improve their passing defense. So for those of you who haven't seen a couple of our recent videos where we've been talking about the struggles of the Ravens pass defense that did improve a little bit in the second half of the season, let's go ahead and talk about those statistics now. So the Ravens passing defense last year, 4,468 passing yards. That's the second worst in the NFL. Now, a lot of the teams at the bottom, the team that is last is the Jaguars, and they're a team that's picking at the top of the draft. The Ravens are a team that is trying to actively make the Super Bowl. So it's a big weakness, a big question mark that the team has tried to fix in this offseason with the draft. And now possibly this theoretical trade that we could see go through in the next couple of days. So one thing in the passing defense that could really improve is those deep balls. The elite corners need to be in place to make a Super Bowl run. The bottom third of the league in passing touchdowns against, and this is a team, like I said, that is trying to make the Super Bowl. That is just not going to fly. Now, this possible trade is with the Dallas Cowboys, and we've got a scenario here where we've got Trayvon Diggs, one of the best corners in the league, and it would be amazing to acquire Diggs, but this is going to be a big cap hit for the Baltimore Ravens. To acquire Diggs would be amazing. However, there's another option that the Baltimore Ravens could possibly pursue that is laid out in this article by Moratis. That option is Deron Bland. Now, some of you might not know Bland. He struggled a little bit last year with some injuries, but just 2 years ago, he had 9 interceptions, and 5 of those were returned for pick sixes. This guy is elite. And the crazy thing about it is it's only a $5.4 million cap hit. That's not even bad. That's not even going to affect what the Ravens want to do with their team. It's an amazing thing that they can get this guy on a rookie contract. Not even a bad hit at all. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Moratis has to say about this. And the Baltimore Ravens, this is from Last Word on Sports, Anthony Palacios, and this was detailed in the article, kind of laying out what the trade, if it were to happen, would possibly look like. Last season, the Baltimore Ravens had one of the worst 2024 campaigns when it came to their secondary unit. Veteran Mon Huntley did what he could to hold the department together like glue, while Brandon Stevens and Marcus Williams were the most inconsistent defenders. The Ravens found some life in Ardarius Williams, but it's hard to imagine this roster would depend on Shinobi Azue for depth behind 2024 draft pick Nate Wiggins. Bland is easily the better cornerback over Azue and could be a significant upgrade for this unit if he can stay healthy. Now, with that said, we already have a guy like Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins, which we will talk about a little bit later into the video. But to add a guy like Bland, who was coming off of injury, who's still in that rookie contract, would be a big bonus and make those guys even better if you can add someone like Bland in that backup position, or if obviously someone gets hurt, you're going to have him in a very active role and possibly, he could elevate himself to a starter level. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Moratis has to say himself about this trade laid out by Palacios. Now, in this article, he states, while it's true Bland missed 11 games last season, he did play in a full 17 over the first 2 years of his career. and he earned a Pro Bowl and first-team All-Pro nods during the 2023 campaign. Over the last 2 years, Bland has posted impressive completion rates of 59.5 and 60.8, respectively. And his 60.8 passer rating in 2024 was his best. With Bland in the fold, the Ravens would have one of the better trios at cornerback in the NFL, along with Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey. Now, we've got to start on Marlon Humphrey, but Nate Wiggins, go ahead and research what he's been doing for the Ravens. If you're sort of a casual fan, but, diehard Ravens fans, we know that he's a guy who's going to be a star for this team for a long time, and adding someone like Bland only makes that combo of Marlon Humphrey and Wiggins even better. And to add something here, there's a sense of urgency with this Ravens franchise right now. There is a sense of urgency. There is a need for Lamar. There's a need for this organization to get to the point where it can win a Super Bowl. And possibly some of you are saying at home, well, it already can. We're just a couple plays away against the Bills and things like that. But with a big hole like this passing defense, I don't know if it's within reach right now. I'm just being honest. That's my take. Yes, if the the game versus the Chiefs goes a little bit different with some turnovers, but you're relying on Lamar to play perfect every single time. The first video in this channel, we're talking about the massive pressures put on Lamar every single time in one of these games to be perfect. And he had a great season, only 4 interceptions this year. But if you're expecting him to be perfect every single time in the playoffs, you have a situation with the Eagles where Jalen Hurts doesn't have to be perfect. They have the team around him. So it's only going to elevate Lamar Jackson if this passing defense can get better, because you're expecting Lamar, with the way that the Ravens gave up passing yards at times this year, you're expecting the offense to be perfect. It's going to make the unit as a whole, as a team, even more complete. So let's go ahead and take a look at what else Moratis had to say about this. So when it comes to draft compensation, the Ravens would probably have to give up a mid-round pick, and more than likely a third rounder, although he could see it potentially costing more given the promise Bland has shown during his career. That would be a small price to pay for a Ravens team that has to get better in the secondary if it wants to compete for a Super Bowl in 2025. Now, giving up draft picks, and we already talked about the compensation that's going to be a small part of this, the $5.4 million salary cap hit. But the compensation to give up draft picks for now, this is a win-now situation for the Ravens. They are a team that is in dire need to get to the Super Bowl. They do not want to be one of these teams that has always had this idea of, okay, we're in this era with Lamar. We're in this era where we have a complete team. We're in this era where we're able to compete, and yet we haven't made the Super Bowl yet. How are we going to improve right away as a franchise? Improving the defense. So go ahead and move those picks. This is an urgent need because this franchise is in an urgent situation this upcoming season, and they need to make it happen soon. Because championship windows are small in the NFL, and you never know when yours will close. Thank you for watching, everyone. Once again, my name is Sam Stewart. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and we'll be back next time. Go ahead, keep an eye on Ravens Digest. We'll see you next time.